Hey, hi, how are you? Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whenever and wherever it is that you decided to watch this video. And for today, for this week, it's all about predictions because on Monday, this next upcoming Monday, the official list of nominations for this year's Game Awards is going to be revealed. And, out of all the years that we've had the Game Awards, this year is going to be the most fun to see, not just because, the reveals of upcoming titles that are going to be there, In general, this year, 2023, has been such an amazing year for video game releases that it's going to be tough to see the nominations this year and not be like, oh man, this game got snubbed, or that game got snubbed, or this game should have been nominated for this category. We're going to be hearing that a lot this year for every single category, from RPGs, from sports and racing, maybe not sports and racing, but for family games, all that. But the most in which you are going to be hearing about that a lot is for the category of Game of the Year. And for that is today's video topic, because I'm going to be giving my predictions for the 6 games that are going to be nominated for Game of the Year. And this list was kind of hard to make because there was, like I said, a lot of great games released this year, and I was afraid that, oh man, this game should be nominated over that game, but no, this game should be nominated over this because of X, Y, and Z reasons. And it was tough to make this list, but I made it. These are the games. These are not my personal 6 games from this year. This is not my list of best games of 2023. This is just what I believe is going to be nominated by the Game Awards committee. And I feel like this is a good list. This is a good prediction because I based this list off of the Metacritic score that each of these games have. Like, all these are in like the 90s Metacritic score rating, so I feel like this is a good guess. And I also based this around the general word of mouth that each of these games has and have. It's like from what I've seen from other people online talking about these games. So I feel like what I have here is a pretty accurate list of what we're gonna see on Monday and throughout the next couple of weeks as people discuss their opinion on the list. But, enough rambling. Let's actually talk about my list of predictions of what I believe are going to be the 6 nominations for this year's Game of the Year. So starting off this list, we have the number 1 and number 2 spot for my picks for the predictions of this year's nominations. And these two are the most obvious one. This is a cold take. Everyone agrees with these two being nominated. We have Baldur's Gate 3 and The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Baldur's Gate 3, I haven't played that game. I have no opinion whatsoever on Baldur's Gate 3. But what I do know is that this is the RPG. This is the computer RPG that has been released this year. This is the ultimate fantasy RPG that everyone's been practically waiting for forever, especially in this year. We have that whole conversation of, oh, this game raised the standards of RPG, and if no video games reach this standard, they are subpar and bad, and that other developers should release the amount of content. It's a whole thing that I don't want to talk about, but the fact of the matter is, Baldur's Gate 3, even though I haven't played it, I know for a fact it is a great game. It is an amazing game. And if I had any interest in this type of genre of RPGs, I would definitely be playing it. But you know, it's not my cup of tea. But you know, this is the one that you're gonna see everyone put at their number one spot, and it's probably gonna be the one to win the nominations. I'm not sure because the competition is stiff. It's between the Game Awards, but we'll get into that later. And you know, Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom is Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. It's the game. It's the game this year. It's the one that everyone was saying, "Oh my God, this is it. This is the game of the year." And then Baldur's Gate 3 came out, but like this is the game that everyone was talking about, much like Baldur's Gate 3. This is a game that I have played. I love Tears of the Kingdom. It's my personal game of the year. It's the one that I want to win because this game is so good. The sandbox element of it all, the fuse mechanic, the build mechanic, you know, it's practically an immersive sim without being an immersive sim. The amount of stuff that you can do, the amount of ways that you can solve a puzzle intentionally or not, is just so big, it's so huge. And the fact that this game is running on a Nintendo Switch, a piece of hardware that was released back in 2017, and it does all this physics-based things and the amount of stuff that this game can do is impressive, and it captures the imagination of a lot of people out there. It captured my imagination. I absolutely love this game, and the fact that it's gonna be an obvious pick is not gonna be surprising to anyone. You're going to see Baldur's Gate 3 and Tears of the Kingdom on that stage, on that list, and nobody should be surprised. Now, who will win between those two is a different conversation, and it's a long conversation that I'm not gonna be getting into today. But there you have it, the two obvious picks for the nominations for this year's Game Awards. Now, the third pick for the nominations this year, it's possibly also another one that's kind of an obvious one to pick. Maybe not. I don't know. We'll see. But I believe it's an obvious pick, and that's Alan Wake 2. It's the game that everyone's talking about right now. It's the game that everyone is calling a masterpiece. You're seeing 9s and 10s across the board, 5 out of 5s across the board, 10 out of 10s, 9 out of 10s. It's the game that everyone's playing right now. It's the game that is impressing a lot of people. I haven't played it yet, but I'll get to it eventually. But it's the game that everyone's been waiting for. And the fact that it's this good from what I've seen is a testament to itself and to Remedy. The talent over there is amazing, and I believe that Alan Wake 2 is another obvious pick for Game of the Year nominations. Now, these next three are maybe not as obvious. These are the ones that I'm not 100% sure are going to be nominated, but if they are there, I'm not going to be surprised. And let's just talk about him, because my number 4 pick for the nominations is Marvel's Spider-Man 2 by Insomniac. You know, it's the game that everyone's saying this is the best superhero game out there. This is the reason why you're going to be getting a PS5 this holiday season. I agree with that, even though I haven't played it yet. So, all in all, yes, Marvel's Spider-Man 2 it's my number 4 pick for Game of the Year nominations, and I'm not going to be surprised if it's there, and if it's not, I'll also not be surprised, but at the same time, I am going to be surprised, if you catch my drift. Now, my penultimate pick for Game of the Year nominations of 2023 is Super Mario Bros. Wonder. And again, this is the game that's getting a lot of praise right now. A lot of these games are getting high praise right now in a year of high praises for video game releases. And Super Mario Bros. Wonder is another one. I'm kind of conflicted on this one because I didn't want to have two Nintendo games on the nominations list, but then I looked back at other years, and specifically 2017 had both Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild and Super Mario Odyssey. So it's two nominations, two years in which Zelda and Mario are both nominations. If this does tend to happen, if this does happen, and I wouldn't be surprised because again, Mario Bros. Wonder is great. Again, I haven't played it yet. I'm gonna be playing it relatively soon. It's a game that I really want to play right now, so I wouldn't be surprised if this game is nominated. But yeah, that's my number 5 pick for the nominations of this year. And lastly, the final game that I think is going to be nominated. This is my number 6 pick. Resident Evil 4 Remake. Now, I was conflicted on this one. I thought, I don't think they're gonna nominate a remake this year, even though they nominated Resident Evil 2 back in 2019. I thought, maybe there are other games that are worthy of the spot for that Resident Evil 4 remake is in right now. But then I really thought about it, and then I really looked at the Metacritic score list of the games released this year. And if Resident Evil 4 Remake is not there, honestly, I would be shocked and surprised if it's not. It is a fantastic recreation of what is considered the best Resident Evil game, the game that defined generations across generations. Gears of War, Dead Space, all that are based or have their inspiration thanks to Resident Evil 4, the original on the GameCube. And to have it remade excellently as it has, it's a game that, although I haven't played, I'm about to play because I'm playing through the Resident Evil games that I can right now. I'm gonna go play Resident Evil 3 right now, and then after that I will play Resident Evil 4 Remake. But it's the game that everyone said, oh, this is the golden standard of what a remake should be. Alongside Dead Space, it was a struggle between this game and Dead Space, but I feel like Resident Evil 4 Remake, from what I've seen, is the better of the two. Not to say that Dead Space is a bad remake, it's a great remake. But if I have to pick between the two, Resident Evil 4 Remake is there. And that is it for my predictions on what games I think are going to be nominated for this year's Game of the Year award. And to recap, at number 1, I have Baldur's Gate 3. At number 2, I have Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. At number 3, I have Alan Wake. At number 4, Marvel Spider-Man 2. At number 5, Super Mario Bros. Wonder. And at number 6, Resident Evil 4 Remake. And this is excluding all of the other amazing games that released this year. Final Fantasy 16, Sea of Stars, Starfield, Dead Space Remake, Jedi Survivor. There's so much. Hi-Fi Rush. I am crushed that I don't have it nominated, but if it was any other year, Hi-Fi Rush could have been an obvious pick for me. For me, it's still one of the best games released this year. It is an honorable mention across this list. But, when you compare that to the games that I have on this list, sadly, Hi-Fi Rush doesn't have a chance on being nominated. Maybe it will get nominated for Best Action Game this year. Who knows? And I think also Starfield is going to get nominated for Best RPG this year, even though in that category, the obvious winner is going to be Baldur's Gate. So that's it for my predictions on what I believe are going to get nominated. Put your thoughts in the comments down below. Do you agree? Do you disagree? If you disagree, put in the comments what you predict is going to be the nomination list for Game of the Year. And with all that said, I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.